Yo, guys, what is going on? Lucky Cheese 7 is back again to give you guys a long overdue live stream discussion on Eden Zero because holy shit, it has been 6 chapters since I last talked about the manga for Eden Zero, and currently at this point, volume wise, there's only 1 chapter left. We're only 1 chapter away from finishing volume 30, and oh my god, like there is only so much I can imagine with how we're gonna cliffhanger for the next chapter, because not just the next chapter, but the next volume, because the cliffhanger for 265 was crazy, and I'm just thinking, where are we going with 266? Because when it comes to volume cliffhangers, Hero has it in the bag. Okay, volume cliffhangers always have something going with you. Well, cliffhangers until we get to like the final volume. You get what I mean? But with that being said, it's been 6 chapters. How much stuff has like actually happened in Eden Zero within those 6 chapters? I would say it's been a lot. So currently, if we're looking at 260, and I'm not gonna go like super in depth with these chapters. Obviously, I'm not gonna do that, but I will like just skim through and like just to give my brief thoughts on like each of the events that have happened. So for 260, I mean we had a few setups. We had Shiki and Lightning Law, which for the most part was pretty good. I like the setup that was going on here. Homura versus Achnoella, which we haven't really seen too much of. That's the one thing I want to say is that we haven't really seen too much of Homura versus Achnoella. We haven't seen a lot on that fight. And considering that Achnoella is, you know, Elsie's mom, part of me does wonder. Like, I know Elsie said that she's not gonna take part in the fight per se, but I do wonder, will she come back into the picture? Because if you remember what Hiro Mashima said in his afterwards for volume 29, he said that there's still a lot of things left that need to be wrapped up for Ender before it's like finished. So, which gets me thinking that Elsie's gonna come back into the picture at some point. I get this strong sneaking suspicion we're gonna get Elsie again. Just because like we have this right now with Homura and with Noella. There's that. Then there's the confrontation with Valkyrie and Brigadine. And I'm gonna say this right now, and this is something Valkyrie hinted at to Homura like early on in this arc. Like, actually, what is this arc even called? I don't think like last I checked, I don't believe we had like an arc for like the last arc I remember we got was the Millstar arc, and that was like just a prior arc. But this arc currently, okay, so this current arc is called the Eden's One. Actually, kind of fitting when I think about it. But something Valkyrie said to Homura was that, like, sometimes maybe fate is trying to stay true to what it was set out to be. Essentially, like, like the fate of Witch, the fate of Valkyrie. That these events that happened before will probably happen again. That's the idea that I'm getting at with Valkyrie. Whereas, it's gonna be like one of these moments of like, like we get this like moments of joy and happiness, like seeing all these characters again. And then what I feel like Hero's gonna do is he's gonna take it away. I feel like that's the case that of where he's going at with this. That's what I'm thinking, but we'll see. And then of course, likewise you have Wizard and Witch, and that we'll get to it. But you got their situation, you got Hermit and Wise dealing with Killa, which is nuts. Then you have currently with Joker. Joker was dealing with uh Ivory. And Happy's the only one that's kind of unfazed. And that kind of throws off Joker like way. I said Joker. Clown. That throws off Clown. Like, wait a second. Why are you unfazed? And he's pretty much just like, yeah, like I'm not an android, which makes me invincible. But Happy's trying to run away, and then Moscow tries to tell Happy to push the button. Now, this has been a real tease that we've been kind of led to for like ages. Like Hermit was like the one who like teased it. He's like, "Don't make me push it," and she's like, "You wouldn't dare." And the big speculation was, what exactly happens to Moscow once that button is pushed? And Irie again just lays it out straight to Happy, like, "Don't you push that button? Don't, not that button. Don't ever push that button." And Happy's like, "Oh yeah, the button. Now that you mentioned it, what does it do?" And again, Moscow's been the one that's been saying, like, "Just push it, push the button." And Happy's like, "You'll roll let me push it." No, no one's allowed to push the button. But there's nothing more we can do. It's the only way. Moscow! It's not like a self-destruct switch or anything, right? Yes. And now I like this initially because she's like, yes, it's exactly a self-destruct switch. Push it and we're all done for. And we come to find out that's not exactly what it is because the button gets pushed and Moscow transforms. And holy shit. I remember reading this chapter in particular, just seeing that moment. I'm like, bro, Moscow looking fly as hell right now. Like I was like, dude, like he ain't taking any sass whatsoever. But it's interesting because this chapter title was called Cosmo, and when you look at Moscow, you rearrange the words. It's Cosmo, and he's a space butler. Cosmo at your service. I hope if and whenever Eden Zero, when season two gets dubbed, because the dub for season two has still yet to happen, but I hope whoever they get for Moscow when he transforms into this, whenever we do get the dub, I hope it's upward. I hope it's someone with an English accent because that would just be so fitting with this. It's like I am the space butler, Cosmo, at your service, which surprises Joker, shocks Happy. Who? I am the inversion of Moscow. Cosmo, at your service. It is a pleasure to see you again, Lady Avery. And Ivory's like, yeah. And Happy's still like throwing it back, like, so Moscow transformed into an older man who looks really strong? I'm having a hard time seeing why we're not supposed to push the button. And you see Ivory's just like shook, like, now that you're here, to hell with it. Murder that evil clown bastard. If anyone can do it, you can. And Cosmo's like, Lady Ivory. And he stomps on her face. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Cosmo has no chill. Like, stepping on her, like, pretty much the same kind of shit that Ivory used to do to Moscow is the same treatment that he's doing to Ivory. If anything, it's kind of like karma coming back to bite Ivory. It's actually kind of funny. It's like, your language appears to be as foul as ever. I can see that I shall need to administer a touch of discipline. Galactic bondage nuts. How does it feel to be subjugated to my domination. Yes, it's wonderful, sir. And again, you have clown and happy, like just like oh, okay, and that was not what I expected to happen. Please stay there a moment. I will. Thank you very much, sir. Now then, for the miscreant who damaged my property, I have a special brand of discipline just for you. Uh, what? Is this really that sumo wrestler bot? Lady Ivory belongs to me. And you see how Ivory kind of blushes up and everything. So, is he? I'm just curious. Is Hero setting up like a Ivory Moscow Cosmo ship? I'm just thinking because he's saying she belongs to me. Just kind of gets me curious. No, no. Oh my god, I'm gonna ditch the accent. No one other than myself is allowed to degrade her. Having like every element of Moscow has disappeared. Moscow at your service. Way to force it. And again, you see how like in awe Ivory is about this. She's like, oh, I told you not to push that damn button. It's always turning me into okay, so pretty much the only reason why she ever said not to touch the button in particular is she gets that submissive feeling, those pleasures, if you will. That's the only reason. And speaking of which, this has been a constant thing that we've been getting, but we do flash back 20,000 years ago, and we get Ivory with Clown, or the doctor, I should say. Let me guess, the surgery didn't work, did it? And the doctor says, I haven't given up on you yet. There's a new treatment, ether therapy. Would you like to try it? And that's how that is. Like how the chapter ends, which I'll say this 260 for the most part. Like, and thinking about it in retrospect of everything that we've gotten so far, I would definitely say it was amazing simply because of like what we were getting with Cosmo and just seeing like how opposite he was from Moscow in particular, but also just getting like a clarification like as to why Ivory was so adamant about not letting others push the button that Moscow always had. And pretty much it was like a what's the right word I want to use here? It was pretty much like a counteractive measure against Ivory more than anything. So now when I look back on like those moments, like it's just funny. It's just it's honestly kind of funny just thinking about that. But the only the only downside of the chapter is that I do wish we got a little bit more on like what was going on with the other fights, but that's just a real like really minor nitpick. If I'm being perfect. But that's 260. Now 261, life slash death. Pretty much all I'm gonna say here. Cosmo deals with Clown. Clown is pretty much kind of done, and Ivory's still like super turned on by this. Like thrill, thrill. Well, wow. I am also the humble recipient of a galactic bondage master license. Allow me to demonstrate. And like you see exactly what happened. He pretty much like literally holding Ivory in a bind. I would like some more, please. Your compartment is disgraceful, Lady Ivory. So, why? And this is a curious question because Happy says, "What?" So, why does Moscow turn into this? And Cosmo says, "For a deep and significant reason. It's just a transformation." I love this because he's like, it's just a transformation function. Happy's like, that's not deep. During the course of Lady Ivory's breaking in of Moscow, in a fit of delirium, she created a switch that makes everything its opposite. As a result, my meager self came into being. Never in my damnedest dreams would I have guessed it turned out this way. And Cosmo continues to go like, "Your language could use some refinement." Yes, sir. I'm very sorry, sir. And again, like, freaking happy. What the hell are you looking at, you stupid cat? And she's like, and Moscow, same person. He's like, language. And Clown is still trying to get away. What is happening? What is happening? I am Clown of the Four Dark Stars, and I will not go down without a fight. And without much damage, or without much effort, he self destructs. Happy points that out too. And Cosmo's like, what? EMP activate. Which, as soon as that happens, you can already kind of get the sense that Pino's there. So Clown's taken out. Shocks Cosmo. Happy surprise too. Same with Ivory. But I and then Pino's there. Like Pino comes straight to the rescue. Pino! And Cosmo reverts back to Moscow. Miss Pino! He's back to normal. And you see the look on Ivory's face. She's like, you slimy little. You got some nerve pushing that button. I am massively sorry. There's no time. The Eden Zero is going to self destruct in 8 minutes. Cut back to Hermit. I have to do something. I have to fix this. You're wasting your time. No one can hack my programs. And this is Killa talking over here. To which Weisz says, why don't you come out and fight us? Well, Killer says, sorry, I'm the type who fights with his head, unlike you. To which you got Hermit saying, I will break through your stupid code. The life of Edens will not die. And then we come back over to Witch and Wizard. Haze Element, Dark Ether. And yo, this is. Which I was like, Dark Ether? Holy shit. Like, Witch goes through not Witch. Wizard goes through a huge transformation, which is pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie. This is a pretty badass transformation. And which is like overdrive. It seems that Shiki is bored of the Eden's one. And which is like the Demon King has. And to which Wizards, it's what a fool. Now he can never return. And then you get Shiki there. After he deals with the bots, you got Lightning Law there. And they're getting back up. And Shiki's just kind of like left, like taken aback. Like, what is this? The broken robots are. And Lightning Law says, Metal Gore Hypnos. They're going in for the attack. Shiki's dealing with as much as he can, okay? Like, imagine this was like Horde mode from Gears. Or, hell, like Nazi zombie mode from like Call of Duty. Firefight from Halo. That is essentially with what Shiki's dealing with right now. He's dealing with like a mad army of like bots. Aren't you broken enough? And Lightning Law says, you'll serve me until there's nothing left of you but a single screw. Leave them alone. And yo, I mentioned this when I did my stream on Dead Rock, but the fact that Hero made all 3 of his heroes take like big L's, I mean like big freaking L's, is nuts. Because Lightning Law like really gets the upper hand on Shiki. Like he really like pierces him. And Shiki's like, wait, what? You'd let a little thing like that shake you? And again, similar to the past trends we've been getting, we cut back in time to 20,000 years ago, and we see, a pregnant witch. And she's like, "What do you think about naming the baby Shiki?" And again, you got Wizard. Shiki? I feel like there's a powerful life force in the name Shiki, which I really wish I was here when this chapter. I wish I did the stream when this chapter dropped, because holy shit! Like, the big question a lot of people had for the longest time was, where did Shiki come from? Like, what planet was he from? Who were his parents? Like, that's been a big talking point. And it was kind of the same chatter with what we were getting with Rebecca for the longest time, as to, like, yo, like, who was Rebecca's parents? Why did they leave her? We eventually got those, with Connor and with Rachel. And like that stuff was like just beautiful. Now, again, the fact that we're getting this, again, which is pregnant here. You got Wizard. And they're both gonna be parents. Now, this again, so from what I'm getting at, Hero is really hinting at, like, which, like, actually being the true birth mother of Shiki. And I'm perfectly fine with that. If anything, it kind of makes it bittersweet when you think about of what's going on between Witch and Wizard currently. But this also brings back a point with Hero, is that when it comes to parents, like, any main character in any of the series never really come out unscathed. Like, usually you have like a parent or two that like takes the brutal punch. I mean, this happened with Haru, with with his father, with Gale. Okay, happened with Natsu, with Igneel. And if we're repeating that trend, look at Silver. I mean, not Silver. Look at Gray. Okay, Gray lost his mom. He lost Or, his foster mother, and then lost his father, Silver. It's that's what I'm saying, is that, like, with all the stuff we're getting right now, like, this is like cool. Like, okay, yeah, like, now we're getting like these little confirmations. I mean, this isn't like full out, like, outright confirming it 100%, but it's definitely leading in that direction. That yes, Shiki is, the son of Regret and Wizard, which does beg the question: how exactly does he have black hair? And I feel like we're gonna get that answer soon. I definitely feel like it. But this is something I really loved. Looking at 261 again, like, in detail, because you do get almost all the fights. You get the fights with what we got with. Well, let me rephrase that. You get the closing bits of Cosmo and Clown. You got their whole scenario, and Clown essentially just suicides himself. That's essentially what he tries to do, with Pino coming in the same day. Then you have the bit with Weisz and Hermit against Killa, which is great. And of course, Witch and Wizard. I mean, top notch. Just super, super top notch. Again, not really too much on Valkyrie and Brigadine, and likewise not really much you get with, say, Homura and Achnoella. You don't really get much on that. But not only just that, the fact that you're on the Eden's one, and then you have Shiki dealing with Lightning Law 2, and Shiki getting, like, again, just like pierced through the chest. Like, it's not necessarily the same thing that happened with Drac and Joe where he got shot in the eye, but This was close. This was like really damn close. Like Shiki got bested. And that's something I don't feel a lot of people like acknowledge with Eden Zero is that like it's like, oh man, we kind of get undue. It's like, yeah, things kind of we turn back time just a little bit. It's not like we go back like way, way back. It's only by just a few minutes. But again, Shiki takes a big L. She takes a big L, and it says a lot. So this chapter means 261, pure perfection. If I wanted to have one little gripe, if I wanted one little gripe about the chapter, I do wish we got some stuff with Valkyrie and Brigadine, definitely, and definitely some stuff with Homura versus Achnoella, because those two fights, like even though we get a little glimpse of it in 260, I do wish that Hero kind of focused in a little bit more on those fights. But again, pure perfection for 261. Now 262. Beautiful cover page of Rebecca, titled "One More Time." Shiki stabbed, like quite literally, like he falls unconscious, and Rebecca sweeps in, dealing with lightning law. The ship breaks through, the ship that Rebecca's in, but she's fine. She notices Shiki like collapse on the floor, and this is giving her PTSD. Like it gives her mad PTSD to Dragon Joe. She's like, "No, tell me this isn't happening, Shiki. If I could turn back time even a few minutes, but I can't control time in this world." Wait, who said I can't control time? I think Mother was only guessing that. And the key thing is this: you is that with what Rachel said is that you can't jump to other universes. That's it. If you turn back time, it's only just for a few minutes. That's it. I might not be able to jump to another universe, but there's still time leap. Maybe I can still use the cat leap, the cat power, and you get. I didn't mean to pause there, but Lightning Law says Ether Gear. Please, please, it's no use. I don't feel like it's even close to activating. And then Rachel mentions one thing to Rebecca. But of course, it's in the nude that one can most easily activate their ether in their body. And of course, you get the. I mean, yeah, in a way, you get that this is like Hero's one moment of fan service with Rebecca. You can say that, but it's a trigger point to awakening her power. Please, just one more time. Let me use the cat leaper power. And she does that, but again, she only goes back by a little bit. It's not much more than that. It's only by just a few minutes. Because even though she does that, like you do see the repercussion that happens. She has like a crack on her face because of what she does. I have to hurry. Etherlink online. And this is like right as Shiki's about to deal with like the horde of robots. Aren't you broken enough? You will serve me until there's nothing left but a single screw. Leave them alone. And right when that happens, Rebecca comes through, shooting the ship, like shooting with the ship, double bullets and everything. And he's like, Rebecca? Reaches out her hand. That crack on your face. Come on, we're going further in. And she's like, did you turn back time? You won't get past me. And Laguna steps in to deal with Lightning Law. And Laguna has a huge, massive spotlight. Like, it is a incredible moment that you get here. Because Laguna's dealing with Lightning Law. And Rebecca pretty much explains that I just called him in to deal with them. I'll take care of things here. And Shiki's like, no, he's my enemy. I won't let him get away with treating his own crew like they're nothing. And Laguna pretty much just says, like, hey, bro, Don't you mean he's our enemy? Metal Gore Hypnos. And then you see them like fidgeting and everything, and Lightning was like, kill him quickly. What's wrong? Well, why won't you move? And Laguna says, haven't you noticed? Every one of them is crying. They're saying, I don't want to move. Shiki's fury is now my fury. And like, dude, this one panel of Laguna was like so cold. It was like cold as ice. Like, this is definitely a huge highlight moment for Laguna for the Universe Zero stuff. And I'm not complaining. It is definitely amazing, without a shadow of a doubt. But you get that. Then you flash back again to 20,000 years ago. I can't believe you came all the way across the ocean just to see me. I read all your essays and theories, Dr. Yuna, and it's pretty much Valkyrie with Killa and Hermit. Oh, don't be so formal. Call me Yuna. To which Killer says, well, what's wrong, Mio? The planet is crying. Please, Doctor, you have to help us. And again, I like how we don't really get a lot when it comes to the stuff in 20,000 years ago. We only just get like little snippets here and there. I think it's great. Which, okay, like I said, amazing plus chapter. Same as the last one. That's an amazing plus chapter. And again, I like that Rebecca is able to use like her time leaper ability, but it's not by a lot. It's not by like a huge, like massive margin to where she can go all the way back to, like prior to. It's not like say with what happened to. What's the word I'm looking for here? It's not like with Draken Joe where Shiki shot and it's like days and months. Is it days or I gotta remember how those events went down. But I remember it was like more than just a few minutes. Like it was at least like a few days when all that stuff happened to Rebecca, and it was only then that she turned back time for just that brief instance. That being said, though, here it's only by just a small sliver of a margin. It's not by much. So and like she is able to use it, but it's again very small. It's like a pebble size, if you will, and that pebble size comes with repercussions, which I do like. Again, love that Laguna's getting the spotlight because I think a lot of people have kind of felt that Laguna hasn't really had a lot to do since Universe Zero started, but this is good. This is honestly really, really good. And then, of course, you get the stuff with Valkyrie, Hermit, and Killer from 20,000 years ago about the planet crying and that, like, if nothing's done, then, it's doomed, essentially. I mean, really powerful stuff. Only nitpick that I'm going to mention, you don't really get a lot on Valkyrie versus Brigadine, and likewise with Homura versus Achnoella. Those are like the only two things that I've noticed so far that I've kind of been like off screen. Outside of like a super brief like panel in 260. That was it. But overall, again, amazing plus chapter. Now we get to chapter 263, titled Aluna, which again, pretty fascinating. So, you get Laguna, get Lightning Law. You turn my robots into water. Don't worry, I'm turning you into water next. A filthy puddle of mud. You think a little thing like water can break through my armor? And because you have lightning law, who can essentially control electricity. Obviously, water has the ability to conduct electricity. So, like, even though it's like Laguna getting his like spotlight and shine, it's not necessarily going to be like an easy thing for him to do because you see lightning law using electricity and that shocks him. And he says, "Your power is hopelessly weak against me." But Laguna's still not giving up. He's like, "I could say the same to you. Water bots like you short circuit, but it also conducts electricity," which I kind of brought up too, "which will fry you." And again, I love the smug look on both their faces because Laguna says, "So it's a game to see who lasts longest." Kind of pathetic, don't you think? And Law's like, "The human body can't possibly withstand this voltage. This is where you die. I may be a human, but if I get past my ether, if I can get my ether past its critical point, then maybe I can adapt to the electricity, reconfigure my particles to be whatever I want. That's what it means to overdrive." And like, I ain't gonna lie, Laguna looking slick. His overdrive form looking mad slick. And Lightning Law's like, "What?" To which he uses the ice ability, Ice Brand. An android defeated by a human? No, never! And still going through. This fantasy of coexistence between androids and humans is coming to an end. That's exactly why we have joined forces with Void. Shiki will make that fantasy a reality, is what Laguna says. But then I'm assuming it's Laguna. If not, then it's Lightning Law. Lightning Law says no human has that kind of power. Actually, so yeah, that is Laguna. Laguna's mentioning the reality part. And Law says no human has that kind of power. And Shiki says he does. He's already made the fantasy a reality. At least he has on our ship. If you would just change the way you look at things, there would be no need for us to fight. You lowly humans think you've caused part a paradigm shift. I think it's paradigm, right? Whatever. But nothing has actually changed. Sounds like you get it after all. Nothing has changed. It's just a question of whether or not you have a heart. And as that happens, Laguna slices Lightning Law. Ice Slicer. To which we go into the further depths of space. You look at how many minutes are left before the Eden Zero self destructs. And then we get my girl Xiaomei. It has been a minute since we have seen Xiaomei. And Xiaomei says the Eden Zero will explode in 7 minutes. But if I know them, they can find a way out of this mess. Or perhaps they are doomed to become so much space dust. And then we hear a figure in the back saying, "No, they'll make it here. I believe in them." We see the eyes open up, and it's Mother. We get like full day Mother after like, jeez, it's been like a super long time. But you see Mother, and Mother says, "Thank you for guiding them this far, Luna." So Xiao Mei's name is not exactly Xiao Mei, it's Luna, which I think is fascinating because if you flip that backwards, it's not Lu. You know what I mean? But that's it. And ignore the clock in the background that just likes to go off every hour. But Xiao Mei says, "Mother, in this world, I call myself Xiao Mei," which I'm still on the board with the theory I've had for the longest time, and that is Xiao Mei, now we know her name is Luna. Luna is the future daughter of Shiki and Rebecca. I'm still calling that. Okay? This is a very again, and it's not something new that Hero has done because go all the way back to Rave Master. Yeah, see, you get those like extra volume contents from 11 since volume 1, right? And what you get with Levin, eventually, we find out that he is the son of Haru and Ellie. And because Zhao Mei was introduced to us as the narrator of the story, I mean, it's not a far fetched theory to say that Zhao Mei is the daughter of Shiki and Rebecca. That's at least what I'm still going off of. And it's still a discussion video I've been working on behind the scenes, but I gotta get to that at some point. Anyway, you get that, and then Mother says, I believe that they will be the heroes who will save the cosmos. And that ends the chapter. That ends chapter 263. Again, another amazing plus chapter. Another amazing plus chapter of Eden Zero. I don't know what more I could say. It is definitely amazing. I mean, the fact that this is 263, Volume 30 ends on 266. Okay? Keep that in mind. Volume 26, not 26, Volume 30 ends on chapter 266. So the fact that we're getting this right now as opposed to later is saying so much. It is really saying a lot, if you will. Again, only minor gripe. We're not seeing a lot with what's going down with Valkyrie and Brigadine, and of course with Homura and Achnoella. Only two minor flaws. Other than that, it's an amazing plus chapter. Now, moving forward, chapter 264. Override. So, pretty much Laguna's dealt with Lightning Law. He passes out. I cleaned up the mess for you, Shiki. And then, you see with what happens here. Doesn't look like we'll be able to take the Leo fighter any further. Can't believe you were crazy enough to try and board the Edens one alone. And you see just how worn out Rebecca is just from using her ether. Says the girl who used the power she's not supposed to have in this world. And she's like, I guess that makes us both crazy. Looking over. And it looks like a shooting star is flying through. And Rebecca's like, Shiki, look. Which you get sudden tremors from Shiki. This ether. What is it? It's really giving me the creeps. It can only mean one thing. That's Void. But where's he headed? As it's going through, you see the dragons. Hey, yo, we're getting the dragons. Where's Achnoella? I didn't realize that way. Where is Achnoella and Homura? They have to be here somewhere. If the dragons are here, you know for damn sure that Achnoella and Homura are having the confrontation. That much is true. But you see the timer still going down. And Hermit's like, the Eden Zero is going to self-destruct in 7 minutes. Do something, Hermit, is what Weisz says. I'm trying. You can't. My code is perfect. And Hermit's like, I found it. Killa is like, what? And Weisz says, nice work. But to stop it, we need the override key. So what is the override key? Authenticization from all four of the shining stars. Sister. And Ivory says, Hermit? What the hell's going on? The door's locked. I'll give you the details later. I need the authentication code for the override key. Override key? You're going to shut down the ship? And now now we're getting Valkyrie. We see Valkyrie. And she's like, Valkyrie, yeah, I hear you. And now we're getting some meat and potatoes here. Now we're getting a little bit more from the fight with Valkyrie and Brigadine. And that's something I was mentioning for the past few chapters. Because outside of like chapter 260, we didn't really get a lot on their confrontation. And yes, granted, you could say it's still not much, but we're still getting something. Yeah, I hear you. But you're going to have to wait. I can't give the authorization command when I'm fighting. And then Witch says something. She's like, Witch, I'm engaged in battle as well. I will need a little time. And she's like, both of you hurry. And right as that happens, like Weisz like gets out of his like arsenal armor. And that kind of throws Hermit off like, well, what are you doing? Twiddling my thumbs isn't my style. There's a user-friendly dive system in the hangar, right? Yo, like she was getting like mad feet over why she's like, for that brief instant, she's like, damn. Can't look at him when he has that expression on his face. Anyway, Weiss says, I'm gonna pop over to the digital world and punch that guy's lights out. To which Herbert looks over. You see Killa with a smug ass smile, and Weiss says, I gotta pay him back for what he did in the last world. You get, again, Witch and Wizard. I see. So your strategy is to use the override key to stop the ship, is what Wizard says. And Witch says, I have no time. I won't hold back. And you have the confrontation going through. We're both androids, both created by Ziggy. Why do you side with the humans? Because Master Ziggy loved humans. And so do I. Wizard says the life forms known as humans must be destroyed. That is why we will destroy Mother. And Witch says Master Ziggy's and Demon King Shiki's wish is to protect Mother. I won't let you carry out your evil schemes. It's too late. Void is already on his way to Mother. And we see that. Which something catches Witch's attention. Void will destroy Mother? And then we cut back in time again to 20,000 years ago. And basically, we see a huge aftermath of what went down. So we don't know the schematics of what happened per se, but we kind of get an explanation just through the line of dialogue. We're seeing unusual weather around the globe. Earthquakes have caused massive subsidence. The damage from the eruption. Okay, so there was a mad eruption the other day. Has We're experiencing a meltdown. The planet may be on the verge of destruction. Everyone, please remain calm and spend these last moments with your loved ones. And as soon as I saw the feet in the cave, like I knew, I was like, "That's my boy. That's my boy." Like Ziggy is in the fray. He shows up, arms crossed, everything's like a dying planet, and that is how the chapter ends. 264. Crazy stuff, like literally mad crazy stuff when you consider everything that we've been getting, and this is all just volume 30, by the way. Amazing. It has been straight out, not straight out amazing plus. At least for like these string of chapters we've been getting. Because 260, I did say was like a great plus, but since 260, it has been like back to back to back, amazing plus. And because again, you get so much with what we're getting. We finally get a little bit of a confrontation between Valkyrie and, you know, Brigadine. I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. Get Brigadine. You see that Void is on the move, so you get that. You have Homura figuring out, not Homura, but Hermit figuring out like what they have to do to disable the ship in order to stop the self-destruct sequence. And obviously, you have the setup right here with Killer and Weisz, which is amazing. And then, of course, the stuff with 20,000 years in the past. Again, you don't get a lot on it, but I like what we get. You just get, it's just enough to get an idea of, like, okay, so, like, it's a matter of tell. It should be a show don't tell situation, but I like that we're only getting like little. Let me correct myself. I like that we're getting little snippets of these events from 20,000 years ago. Like they're not like full length like flashback chapters. They're just like little vignettes of what went down, and I think that's really saying a lot. Keeping in mind this is the same planet where the four shining stars were at, so obviously we get a sense of what happened, and then of course it's where Ziggy pops up. So yeah, Amazing Plus. I would argue actually this is probably pure perfection, and I argue that the only thing, only minor pebble nitpick again is not getting much on Homura versus Achnoella, but I don't think that really matters in this case because this was peak. This was definitely a peak chapter for Eden Zero. So definitely pure perfection. I'll go ahead and say this is pure perfection chapter. Now, the latest chapter, 265. Just beyond this point. The second to last chapter of Volume 30, by the way. You got the Eden's one in the midst of everything. Shiki there. Void isn't on the ship. Where's he going? Great Demon King, like Witch is contacting Shiki. Void is on his way to Mother. Witch? He wants to destroy her. And get the dot dot dot. Go to Shiki. Come on, Rebecca. We're going after him. And Rebecca says, it's time to show just how fast this cat can go. Hold on tight. Etherlink. Cat Leaper activate. Whoa, this is so fast. Shiki, don't bounce around so much. The spider isn't built to see two. Yes, ma'am. Which I haven't really commented on this too much, but you do get a nice uh bits of sprinkling with uh Sheikah moments. Like they're really like sweet and wholesome. Well, there's a funny one that's about to come up. I know that one for a shadow of a doubt. We have to catch up the void no matter what. So the ship's going there, and Shiki says, "But do you know how to get to Mother? Don't worry, I have a link from the Eden Zero. I'm more worried about whether or not I'll last long enough to get us there." And like you, you see how much of a toll just using her time leaper ability just put on her. Like the strain it had on Rebecca to use that in a world where you're not supposed to use it says a lot. And she is like, Rebecca, I'm going to step out for a second. What? And he's like, hey, what? You'll just keep you just keep going. I'll be right back. Hey! And he teleports back to I was about to say Valkyrie, Ivory and Moskoy. And Ivory's like, Shiki. Pino's like, Master. Pino, what a relief. Are you okay now? Yes. Witch asked me to come back. She wants me to get everyone off the Eden Zero. I heard about the self-destruct protocol. Moskoy! Get us off, but where will we go? I tied my wormhole to the Eden's One. We're all gonna board their ship. And I was like, you gotta be joking, right? Like, you want us to abandon the ship? This is Ziggy's ship, our ship, your ship. Hermit says she can stop it, and I believe in her. So I'm not moving from the spot. And she's like, I knew you'd say that. Huh? So while you're believing in people, you want to believe in me too? I'm gonna go stop. I'm gonna go beat Void. So you get that, and Rebecca is like charging full steam ahead. Full steam, full speed. Same difference. I don't believe that guy. He better not be planning on bringing more people onto this tiny. And I'm laughing because the wormhole opens up like right in front of Rebecca, and he's like, "Hi, don't hi me." And see, this is the Shika moment I was talking about. Like he hops right in, like right into Rebecca, and it's hilarious. But you pretty much get like two other people joining them, two small people, if you will. You got Pino and Happy. We tagged along. Rebecca. That's what Happy says. And Rebecca's like, Happy Pino. Oh my god, this part over here. She's like, and where are your hands, you jerk? So sorry. And I love Pino's comment. He's like, detecting sexual harassment. And Shiki just hands Rebecca a soda. He's like, here, I got this from Sister. It's Sister Energy. It can help you recover from any injury or fatigue. So you get that. Master, there is what Pino points out. Shiki notices it's Void. We caught up to him. As so you're seeing like as she's like taking the drink, it's healing like her scars and whatnot. But my curious question is how much of this. My curious question is like how much of this drink do they have? You know, like is there like a huge supply or is it like a limited thing? If it's a one time deal, then you know that's that. But anyway, Shiki says, "Awesome, thanks, Rebecca. Now I need you to keep your distance, huh? Go. What is that? Sister secret weapon, Cosmo energy. What? He went out into space?" And Pino explained. So you had the sister energy, which heals scars and wounds, and now you have Cosmo energy. And Pino lays it out flat. Like apparently that medicine will allow him to survive in space for a while. Wow, I guess nothing should surprise me anymore. To which Shiki looks over, or Rebecca looks over at Shiki. Shiki, nod. Like he nods his head. He goes over. Void looks back like Nani, and the clash begins. I was, I was gonna say the Clash of Kings, but you get Shiki, you get Void, just like duking it out, and he's like Void, and Void says Shiki, or perhaps I should call you Baby Ziggy, which kind of throws Shiki off. He's like, he uses gravity too. And look, I'm gonna say this right now. Void looking like mad fly with the design. He's looking like mad fly at the moment. Shall we settle this then? Here and now. That's what I came here for. In Mother's grand presence, let us determine whose kind will be the ones to perish. And he says that right as Mother's like there, like right behind him. Okay, like way far off into the distance. And you see Shiki, you see Pino and Happy, you see Rebecca, and she's like, Mother? And that's the end of chapter 265. Another hype chapter. Another banger chapter of Eden Zero. Pure perfection. I'm gonna call it pure perfection 265. So you got two pure perfections from 265 to 64. Okay. And then you got three great pluses from no, not great pluses. Three, essentially three. You got three amazing pluses: 263, 262, 261, and then one great plus from 260. Overall rating? Let me see. If I'm bringing my own rating system into account here, like really bringing it into account and analyzing it. So let's see here. Great plus, plus, amazing plus, plus pure perfection. Okay, so overall rating, because I really had to like really take a grasp of my rating system again, just like properly like analyze and give it the proper rating system itself. So overall, these chapters combined, it's an amazing plus. A string of amazing plus chapters of Eden Zero. And I like legitimately I am so curious. What is Hero gonna do in chapter 266? Because you could argue this could be the end point of volume 30, but 266 is gonna be something else. Okay? 266 already is gonna be something else. And like because a lot of people could argue this is the final confrontation we're getting with Void and with Shiki. But I want to say one quick thing about this. Hero said there's still a little bit more storyline that he wants to tell with Eden Zero before we fully wrap up the series. It's like, yeah, we're getting to the end, but even he knows himself that he doesn't want to rush like he doesn't want to like rush the finale, if you will. And if I have to take a guess on how much content we have left for Eden Zero, I mean, what are we on, like 265? So 266 will be the end of Volume 30, and I've preferenced that a lot. Brave Master ended at what, Volume 35? At around 296 chapters, I think. Actually, let me look that up. It was either 296 or no, not even 296, 297. Let me see. Like I'm ballparking 295, 297. But if I'm actually looking at the contents of the chapters themselves, let's see. So okay, yeah, so 296. 296 is where we end off Rave Master. And if we're looking at that for Eden Zero, that's like what, another 30 chapters? 30 chapters. So that would put us at around ballparking. Let me think of it. 9, 18, 27. 9, 18, 27, 36. 36. That puts us at the very least up to volume 34. At the very least, that puts us at volume 34 for Eden Zero. But keeping in mind with what Hero also said is that he thinks Eden Zero will also be longer, like just slightly longer than Brave, but shorter than Fairy Tail. So, if my math estimate is correct on that, we should probably be ending at somewhere around like chapter 300, 302, I think, right? No, let me think of it. So 31 will be volume 31 will end at 274. 32 will end at 283. 283. 33 will end at 292. And then, yeah, looking at it like that, then volume 34 should end at what? Chapter 301. 301. So, yeah, looking at it like that, I'd say like maybe we have like 36 chapters, which is still good. Like, that's still a relatively good run for Eden Zero. And I could see that actually. Yeah, get to the 300 chapter milestone, and that's how we conclude Eden Zero. I think 31 chapters is enough to really conclude everything. But fact of the matter is one thing. We gotta wait and see what happens in 266. Because that's gonna be the key answer we're gonna get as to where we're gonna go. But overall, I've enjoyed with what we've gotten with Even Zero so far. This final arc, it's not final arc, definitely penultimate arc. This penultimate arc, maybe arguably final arc, the Eden's One War, has been fire, straight fire. And you could argue it's kind of been like that since the mill stuff too, but definitely peak, without a shadow of a doubt. And I think that's all I have to say when it comes to these chapters of Eden Zero. Let me know what you guys' thoughts were on these chapters. What was for your parts about it? Did you have any gripes about it? What do you think is going on with Homura and Achnoella? Because so far, that's been like the only fight we haven't really gotten our eyes on for the most part. You know? And aside from that, you guys, that's pretty much all I have to say. I'm Lucky G7. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more Eden Zero content, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.